with Liz Gale. Messy, fun, raw, real. Let's get into it.
Woo! We made it. We made it. Hello, hello. How are you this morning? I'm so glad to see you. I see you in the chat. I see you got here before me. Thank you for being here. To the lovely mods, I see Dylan's here modding, and Miss Sunrise I thought I saw. So anyway, thank you for being here. And I see some members too. I still haven't figured out YouTube, but I'm pretty sure if your name's in green with a little checkbox, you are an art supporter member of mine, and I love it. I love that for both of us. A girl is a little puffy this morning because I stayed up till 1 a.m. working on my red string project. This is Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist with me, Liz Gale. I am, among other things, an artist. And dang, I was getting into it yesterday. While I was getting into it, I was listening to podcasts as we do, and I heard finally Candace Owens say Scientology. Now, this is not a political, believe me, guys. I don't do politics. You guys know I'm a conspiratorial person. I'm an ex-Scientologist. I think it's all a stage, a theater. But it's still a good show sometimes. So, I've wondered why Candace Owens hasn't mentioned Scientology at all ever since I started watching her, which was maybe 11 months ago, because she was starting to do some book club about a book called Chaos, which is about the CIA, Charles Manson. It introduced the idea that Charles Manson's family was actually an MK Ultra experiment to try to push people to the max, to the brink, to do terrible things. So that book piqued my interest, right? So that's when I started. So I just want you all to know, I know that she's a polarizing figure. I know that Candace Owens has had a hell of a history. I don't want to talk about any of that. That's not what we're talking about today. So, my ears perked up when I'm in my studio doing my art. I'm like putting propaganda together. I've got old magazines from the early 1900s with advertisements in them. I'm just in the zone. Is it not? Hold on, everybody. Somebody said something about audio, and I believe them because you guys know that's my kryptonite. Is that any better? Okay, well. Okay. All right. It's always the ones that get in the chat and go, the audio, and I do always question that. It's a little scratchy, huh? I wonder if it's one of my settings here. Hold on. I have this weird thing. I am so far out of my element. I'll tell you what. How's that? It's this thing, guys. All right, well, hold on. It's going to be okay. We're going to go old school. I will pull you closer. I changed my audio. I just put it on my MacBook. I realize I'm going to sound a little more tingy, whatever. No, it's this. It's this whole situation. I got duped into buying something I don't understand because it was cheap. Because anyway. All right. So back on track. We'll edit all that out of the one later. Here I am. doing the art, doing the thing, and I overhear Candace. I want to tell you, I'm going to show you what I overheard. It was just this little 20-second clip.
You actually do not have a right to your own state. That's just made up. You've just been saying it and brainwashing people to believe that that's a thing. You couldn't just get a bunch of Scientologists to get up and say, oh, well, you know, why can't Scientologists have their own state? Why can't we just take over all of America? It's not a thing. It's actually not.
Of course, my ears totally perked up when I heard that. Were you able to hear it? I hope so. In the 11 months I have followed her, I have never heard her mention Scientology. And I know she has Scientologists close in her life. I know this. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Did you hear what she said? She said Scientology can't just, I don't know, have their own state. Did you guys hear that? Let's listen to it one more time.
You actually do not have a right to your own state. That's just made up. You've just been saying it and brainwashing people to believe that that's a thing. You couldn't just get a bunch of Scientologists to get up and say, oh, well, you know, why can't Scientologists have their own state? Why can't we just take over all of America? It's not a thing.
Who's going to tell Candace it's a thing? I think we are. I think today we are. So, hey, Candace. I don't think she's really watching, but let's talk about how it's a thing. Have you heard of this? Let me share my screen here. I have a lot of tabs open, guys. Here we go. Let's let real investigative journalists do the job for us. So this is a Tampa Bay Times amazing website. In fact, let me copy and paste it for you because it has a whole interactive map. Yeah, exactly. Because they want to take over the world, not the United States. Duh. That's funny. So the link's in the chat. I just put it in if you guys want to check out this interactive map. But it's going to tell us a story, and we're going to read it together. Because I don't have to reinvent the wheel here. But this is what we all need to know. Scientology has 100% busted in and tried to take over a United States city in 2026. That is actively happening right now as we speak. All right, so how do we do it? We have to start at the top here. Here we go. I was at the top. So, clear takeover. How Scientology doubled its downtown Clearwater footprint. We're talking about Clearwater, Florida. Story by Tracy McManus, Hero. Graphics by Eli Murray, Chef's Kiss. From the Times staff writers. This is Tampa Bay Times. Yes, Tampa. Clearwater is 30 minutes from Tampa. That's true. Everybody hit the like button, please. I forget to say it. I'm going to start pushing it. Okay. This is such a cool website. So scroll down to read the story. So first, Scientology came to downtown Clearwater in 1975. It bought a hotel and wrote plans to take control of the city. So there's the building. Had one building at this time. The church's campus grew slowly over decades. Its members bought property on surrounding blocks. Now, for a lot of this time, Scientology's identity was hidden. That means that they came in under false pretenses. In fact, the town hated it so much. I'm going to show you something really quick. Hold on. Here's a newspaper article. So this was a 1976 article in the Tampa Bay Times also. I mean, they're all over Scientology. You'd have to be. It's a huge story. Okay, so this says, finally, it was revealed. The Church of Scientology surfaces as the Fort Harrison Hotel's owner. So, Clearwater, the controversial Church of Scientology of California, describing itself as the foremost religious reform group in America and the world, announced Wednesday that it is the real buyer of the Fort Harrison Hotel and is backing the United Churches of Florida, the hotel's tenants. Pushed into revealing this, they were basically ousted. Pushed into revealing its 95% backing of the ventures by a rising tide of public curiosity and distrust, we'll talk about that in a second, the Church of Scientology flew a spokesman to the Tampa Bay area in the early morning hours to make the announcement. The spokesperson, Reverend Arthur J. Marin of Los Angeles, told reporters that the church had decided originally to keep out of the picture, even to the extent of not letting the hotel sellers know about the tie. So they're liars. Yes, of course, Journey. Of course. We'll get there. I'm using the Tampa Bay Times map, but maybe there's more since then, you're saying. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's tons. So, hold on. Let me get back to that. Where is it? Where's my article? Here we go. So this is just a little backing. Now see over here? Oh boy. This started a problem. We'll read more, but see that? Let me scroll out. There we go. Now I'm supposed to read that? You're joking. I can't read that. Church of Scientology surfaces as Fort Harrison's hotel owner. All right, we're going to go back. This is where it gets crazy, you guys. So Clearwater Mayor Gabriel Cazares, publicly incensed by the guard's presence, you just saw that guard, and the renter's evasiveness, he reacted strongly to the Church of Scientology's announcement. Quote, "This confirms what we suspected from the beginning," he said. "They did not level with us. They have misused our ministers. They have misled the public, and they have evaded the truth." So wait, hold on. Let me make it small so we can just talk about it for a second. There we go. So Candace Owens is like, oh, Scientology can't just go and decide to take over a state. Now this is, you got to start somewhere, right? This is in the 70s, guys. I don't know how many decades ago, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. This is like 50 years ago. They've been at this for a while. And the guards that were walking around, like that security guard, and they had billy clubs, it was really making people in the community nervous. And it was really making people like just uncomfortable. And you could tell that they were lying about what they were doing. It's weird. And so the mayor spoke up, and Scientology's response to this was to get their internal CIA, their own group, their dirty tricks department, the Guardian's office, I believe it was at the time, to frame the mayor for a hit and run and a sex scandal south of the border. This is documented. It was called, I mean, it's extremely documented. Let me show you. It's called Project Normandy. Here we go. I have the actual paperwork, but I wanted to just show you the Wikipedia. Project Normandy Scientology. Here we go. I had it pulled up earlier. Okay. So the history is, like we just talked about, in the 1970s, the Church of Scientology Corporation used a front group called the United Churches of Florida to purchase the Fort Harrison Hotel. And they made that their flag land base. Up until this point, L. Ron Hubbard was like on a fleet of boats in international waters trying to port everywhere, and everyone was kicking him out. And so it was top secret that they were even moving in. Now, later they were raided, and paperwork was found out that in order to punish and silence the mayor who was criticizing them, they decided to entrap him in a sex scandal. They said that he had a whole second family down south of the border in Mexico. And they also staged a phony hit and run. They had one of their church members go and pretend to get hit by his car and then say that he did a hit and run. It's wild. Eventually, the mayor wasn't the mayor anymore, and he did sue Scientology for $1.5 million, but he settled, so we don't know. We don't know. Meanwhile, they're running Scientology out of a hotel room in Tarpon Springs or some such. No billy clubs, but swagger sticks. Yeah, and it's still happening. Exactly. So people in the town tried many, many ways to deal with it. Here's one. This is from 1979. It says, businessmen offer to buy Scientology headquarters but are turned down. Clearwater, a group of local businessmen seeking to help downtown Clearwater offered Friday to buy the Church of Scientology's headquarters in the former Fort Harrison Hotel for $1 million. But the officials of the church, who paid $2.3 million for the building in 1975, say they plan not only to keep the hotel, but to remain in Clearwater indefinitely. The Scientologists own 5 other buildings in the city. Total value, including the Fort Harrison Hotel, is estimated at more than $10 million. This is in 1979. Quote, "We have no intention of moving out," the church spokesman, Milt Wolf, said. "Our intentions are simply to become a part of the community and resolve any problems that exist." Wolf said he made a similar statement in a meeting Friday with Dr. Gilbert Ginelli, a Florida optometrist who organized the businessman's offer. So far, however, Ginelli is not accepting that as final word from the church. He plans to give them 14 days. The reason they're doing this is, it says, the offer was really just a kind of opening, Ginelli said, like you go to a flea market and you say, "I'll give you so much," and see how it goes. He added a minimum offer was made because he and his partners believe at least another $1 million will be needed to renovate the 54-year-old former hotel. Oh man, too bad they didn't have a bunch of slaves. Slave labor could have done it for pennies. He says, "We think no one wins as long as Scientologists are here," Harper said. "It's a major issue. Having them in downtown is not good for the city, not good for downtown businesses, and not good for them. We thought offering to buy the hotel would give them a chance to withdraw on a reasonable basis." Obviously, guys, they didn't take the bait, right? So at this point in the story, they have 5 properties. But that's not all. More. What? All of these highlighted properties are properties now that have been bought. Well, I'll read it. Then in 2017, companies controlled by parishioners began buying retail property at an unprecedented rate. So Scientologists had companies that bought all these other buildings. Started heavily in 2017. Are you guys seeing this? If this is not a takeover, of a United States city in 2026, you have to tell me what is. Let's just watch just for funsies. Let's watch this again really quick.
Actually not you actually do not have a right to your own state. That's just made up. You've just been saying it and brainwashing people to believe that that's a thing. You couldn't just get a bunch of Scientologists to get up and say, oh, well, why can't Scientologists have their own state? Why can't we just take over all of America? It's not a thing. It's actually not.
It's not a thing, but it's obviously a thing. This isn't even all of them, guys. This is not even close to the end. So hold on, let's go back. So they doubled the church's footprint in less than 3 years. So I think it was 2017 to 2020 then. The impact is clearest in the heart of downtown. Okay, there's the heart of downtown. And take away the church footprint, a few condo towers, and all buildings owned by the government. Look how little is left. Okay. This is probably what you guys are talking about in the chat. So just so everybody's clear, in the chat. Okay. So Journey, who I believe has a lot of research into this area, says, hi, Liz, on my way to go to class, I spoke to Tracy McManus. That is the woman, investigative journalist who wrote this article, did the research for this. During the takeover project, you are reading, more properties were being bought. They have continued since it was published. They have bought more hotels on the 19 corridor, and there's plans to move middle management to Clearwater, Florida. I have to go shut up my Roomba. Hold on. I was going to let it go today, let her go. But if I'm not on a good audio, then you'll hear it. Yes, obviously the Mormons have also taken over Utah. They probably own more than Scientology does. So this is what's left. And like we just talked about, more properties have been purchased, and this heart of downtown has been their main focus for a while. Then walk down Cleveland Street, downtown's main artery. They own every building on the whole street leading up to the waterfront. 22 of the first 33 buildings now have ties to Scientology. The Church of Scientology and companies run by its members spent over $103 million in the past 3 years. This was, I believe, in 2020. At the time of this, they now own most commercial property on every block within walking distance of the waterfront, putting the secretive church firmly in control of the area's future. Now, since this article, also, Scientology was trying very, very hard to take over more downtown and force the city to sell them other buildings. And so I do want to show you guys that there is this initiative, because I'm a solution-oriented girly, that there is this initiative called the Save the Garden. And if you are a local or you actually are just extremely pissed off about this, like a lot of people are, This is really cool. This is a whole initiative to heal the city and reconnect Clearwater to its downtown roots. The Garden is a multimedia engagement platform. So basically, they say they want to make a mile-long walkable journey that is a museum without walls that goes down memory lane, and it keeps the history of that area alive and through Garden Avenue. So during segregation, Garden Avenue was more than the heart of Clearwater's Black business community. It quietly symbolized cooperation between Black and white citizens. While laws enforced separation, real life told a different story. Black-owned businesses served all, and downtown success relied on shared labor and mutual respect. Today, the Garden honors that legacy. Our first multimedia installation, The Story of Clearwater in Black and White, begins the walking tour by highlighting the unspoken partnerships that helped build a resilient and unified city. And so these guys, we got this Sidney Wigfall. He's a trusted cab driver for 47 years in the area. Frank Muscarella, Esquire. He went on to the U.S. Attorney's Office and he worked in downtown Clearwater. Johnny Sorey, 30 years. He served at the Pure Oil gas station right there, known for his kindness. The French dry cleaners, the local barber, Garden Avenue Cafe. Charles Rutledge Sr., a leader in Clearwater's NAACP, played a key role in advancing civil rights. Minnie Kerbo. She was a teacher in the 20s, and Miss Christine Morris, a librarian. She looks fun. I like her smile. Okay. So positive. And yes, it is run by Brooks Gibbs. Save the Garden. Thank you. So Candace doesn't know. Candace doesn't know. And you know, I suspect something is going on with Scientology and Candace, because she does have, I guess, in her life, some pretty top level Scientologists. And we can talk about that another day, but I just really wanted to address this. And I'm wondering, like, does she know? Is that why she said it?
Do not have a right to your own state. That's just made up. You've just been saying it and brainwashing people to believe that that's a thing. You couldn't just get a bunch of Scientologists to get up and say, oh, well, you know, why can't Scientologists have their own state? Why can't we just take over all of America? It's not a thing. It's actually not.
Gosh, girl, get it together. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, was Candace Owens just sort of strangely name dropping Scientology and saying, oh, it's not a thing, when it's 100% a thing. It's totally a thing. It's happening. Scientology is in the middle of taking over an entire United States city. And that's just what we can see with our eyes, because things have been bought. It is tangible evidence. If one thinks about the backroom deals and the leverage and the lobbying and the partnerships and the coalitions that cost a lot of money, the invisible strings, the Pam Bondi strings, there's a lot there that I suspect is woven into Scientology's, in Florida's entire political system, would be my guess. She is safe pointing, I feel like, Scientology, and she probably knows, because there's this guy who was really instrumental in Turning Point UK. And I know he's still in Candace's life, because when she has been covering the Charlie Kirk death, at some point she read a letter in support of herself that was written by a Turning Point donor. And that donor, those donors, was John Mappin and Irina Mappin. Those are two people, they're married. We'll just talk about John. He was instrumental in starting Turning Point UK. And it was at that first event or series of events there that Candace came and met her husband and was married like 17 or 19 days later. So we know that he's been in Candace's life for a while. And when I hear her talking and then she read his letter, that makes me feel that they have a tighter connection. And she talks about anti-psychiatry. She talks about anti-pharmaceuticals. She talks about the occultism, worshiping Baal, Satanism, all the things. L. Ron Hubbard's, the sex magic rituals that he was involved in, but she never names him. Imagine describing a menage a trois. You're like, oh my God, guess what I heard? They were having a threesome. Who was it? Oh, it was Jack Parsons and Sarah Northrop. That's only two people. Who's the other person? It's L. Ron Hubbard. Oh, Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard? Well, that kind of seems important. But she never brings that up. I mean, whatever. So I find this interesting. I do think she, I believe, has been safe pointed by Scientology. And I see in the comments says she's mega Christian. I believe she's mega Catholic. I don't even claim to totally understand the difference or what that means. And I would never speak to understand. I never speak on behalf of somebody else's faith. But this is what she said. She's super Catholic. And I actually hope that's true. I hope that her faith is genuine and real. Because at this point, it probably is the only thing keeping her from actually joining Scientology. And so right now, Scientology is doing this whole thing where they're saying you can be any religion and be a Scientologist. Now, they've tried this for a while, but anybody who actually knows that you can do that for a little while, but once you get to a certain point, you have to pick. One thing I have heard Candace say, and it's not an expression that I use, but I've heard her say it, Christ is king. That sounds like a hierarchy to me. I cannot imagine if that is a true belief system, that when you're faced with the choice finally of it's L. Ron Hubbard or Christ, only one is king. I can only hope that it's that faith that would keep her from walking down the path of choosing L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology and its pseudoscience and its bullshit. I don't know much. I mean, I didn't follow her politically when that was like her main thing. The only time I've now really heard her mention politics is she says things like, it's all a theater, it's all a circus. And I do believe in that. I definitely believe that. I believe that the two-party system is a crock of shit and designed to constantly keep people at odds and really never actually get anywhere. And I honestly challenge any American to tell me that they think that this system isn't corrupt and broken. You know? There you go. Source. L. Ron Hubbard called himself Source. And I mean, come on, that's like another word. That is king. It is source. It's like, that's God, right? Source. Yeah. So I've put up, actually, I went down some serious rabbit holes, not just from this, but there are rabbit holes to go down from the Turning Point and Candace Owens thing. I mean, I started with this guy, John Mappin. Turns out he bought Camelot Castle in Scotland, and you can go there. It's like not a bed and breakfast, but it's like a hotel. And apparently he has all this art everywhere from this other guy who he recruited into Scientology. It's all very mystical and weird. And some of it has to do with finding Excalibur, which is the sword in the stone from King Arthur and the Round Table, which is a strangely common, it's strangely weird that a lot of people look for that. It's weird. So that's one rabbit hole. And then you can go from there to Greenland and to Uri Geller, to the supernatural. Like it's just boop, 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 boop. We're going to fall down the rabbit hole like Alice, like I was talking about the other day. And that's kind of where I've been lately. You could see on my channel, I uploaded a couple of like 7-minute videos that kind of have been talking about trying to understand a lot of the new Epstein file stuff. Mossad, it's a new concept to me that the CIA was actively taking over cults from the inside out and actually instigating cults, instigating them to coerce their members, gathering intel. That's wild. That's wild. And some of it borders on conspiracy theory because we don't know. We don't know, but we do have a lot of facts in that area. So that's what I've been going on and on and on about. And last night, working on one of my boards, it all is coming together, guys. It is all coming together. Awesome. Well, it was a great, very short stream with you guys today. I'm going to edit out that audio crapola. Thanks for sticking with me. I've been so happy to see you guys this morning. I know that I'm preaching to the choir with you guys in the chat, and I hope that this reaches new, I'm going to sneeze, new audience too. What's worse, crying on the internet or sneezing? I can't decide. But I might go live a little bit later this morning on my phone from my art room. That's why I'm kind of jumping to get off of here because I'm still in the zone. I want to get back to it. So I'll see you guys in a little while, probably. Thanks for being here this morning. I love you guys tons and tons. I'm so glad to see all these members. I should probably shamelessly plug myself before I go. That is a thing that people have to do sometimes in life. If you want to find anything else about me, how to contact me, I mean, not anything else, but if you want to know what I'm up to, check out liz-gale.com. This is my website. That's me. You can check out my book, this show. And if you want me to come on your show, there's some the info there. The Red String Project, which is what I'm working on today, different boards. Yeah. And don't forget I have a blog called Scientology Childhood and Parenting. So girls all over the place. Check me out. Check me out, and I'll see you in the art studio later, or I'll catch you on the replay. Thanks, guys, for being here today. And if you see Candace on the streets, tell her, yes, Scientology is trying to take over the world in 2026. And they're starting with Florida. Okay, bye guys.
She knows herself, she finds her way. Through art and joy, she shapes each day, crafting beauty from the past, healing wounds, peace at last. With each move, she finds her voice. Not